Okay, so now that we know the general form of a confidence interval, let's go ahead and construct a one sample z interval for a proportion. So when constructing a confidence interval for a proportion, we will panic, literally and statistically. So when we see this, and we're actually not going to panic, but because we have this very nice template here to help us with the process. You're going to be doing this so much this semester that it's going to come pretty naturally eventually. But of course, as we're learning it, feel free to use this template. And although it's helpful and it can become kind of brainless to just like spit out the respective parts of the template, make sure you're going back and you're reviewing each part and why it makes sense and why it's connected. Because while the FRQ might be a very straightforward computation, sometimes they can do some applied questions with the procedure, and we're going to review this in class. But also in the multiple choice, it's helpful to know how the interval is constructed, what an interval tells us, what does the confidence level versus the interval itself represent. So just some things to think about here. Now, off of the teacher soapbox, let's go ahead and construct. Well, when we panic, the first thing we have to do is, since we are estimating a parameter using a sample, we have to talk about what we're estimating. Here, we're going to be estimating P, which is the true population proportion of, and then context from the question. We have our three assumptions, thinking back to our sampling distributions here. And remember, it must be stated random, whether it's random sample or random assignment. It must be independent, meaning that the observations do not influence one another, and that if we are sampling, we're sampling less than 10% of the population. And lastly, it must be normal by large counts, or the success-failure condition. Now, if these three assumptions or conditions are met, we will use a one sample z interval for a proportion. So notice the three components there for the name is how many samples, is it a z or t? So far we've only talked about the z distribution from the normal distribution. And then what are you doing it for? So how many samples, z or t, and then what is it for? And once we know what test or procedure we're running, we will construct it using this formula here. This is provided on, not explicitly provided on the AP Stats formula sheet, but the standard error is in the general form there, which was the point estimate plus or minus margin of error. And then lastly, what does our interval mean? Well, it means that we are C% confident the interval captures the blah, 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 blah. All right, so let's take a look at an example here. All right, so prom is normally a big ordeal for, do I have this here? Yeah. Prom is normally a big ordeal for the students at Castaneda, something Cache High School. The senior class officers at Cache want to estimate what proportion of the school's senior class plan to attend this year's prom. A random sample of 50 of the 515 seniors were surveyed. The officers find that 36 seniors plan to go to prom. Let's construct and interpret a 90% confidence interval for P. So let us go ahead and start the panic. You can do this in a multitude of ways. You can write out the letters. Your teacher might use state, plan, do, conclude. I'm just going to panic with my students. So the first thing for panic is the P. We need to talk about what parameter we are estimating. So here, and sorry y'all, I get to type, you all have to write this in, but here, P is the true population proportion of seniors at Cache who plan to attend prom. Why can I not spell attend prom? So that is our parameter that we're trying to estimate based on our sample. Now, we have a few assumptions that we also need to make. So, for my assumptions, remember, they are always sinful. So, our assumptions here, yes. The first one is that we are selecting a random sample of 50 seniors at Cache. So, a random sample means we can safely generalize our sample results to the population of interest, aka the 515 seniors at Cache. Next up, we want independence. When we know that 50 seniors is less than or equal to 10% of all seniors at Cache. All right, and so here you all can just write in the inequality, the less than or equal to Actually, I'm reflected. Is this the less than or is that the greater than? Okay, one of those. So stated random, we are selecting a random sample. 10% condition, our 50 seniors is actually less than 10% of the 515. So we're good there. The degree of dependence is negligible. And the last one, we actually do have to do a little math here. So I'm actually going to cheat because I'm going to say the normal model is appropriate by large counts. And I can't just say that. I actually have to show the AP graders and readers what I mean when I say it's appropriate. So just as a reminder, the large counts condition says n times p. However, here, we don't actually know the true proportion of seniors, right? We're trying to guesstimate using a confidence interval. So instead of doing NP, I'm actually going to do NP hat because I'm estimating based off of my sample. So here I have 515 total seniors. Actually, JK, N is not my population size, N is my sample size. How come any of you didn't stop me? And I totally just erased my conditions. Is there an undo button? Edit, maybe? Undo. Can we get another undo? Okay, I'm just gonna, there we go. Woo, close one. And I did it again. Okay, so guess what? We are just gonna cross this off. So here, N is my sample size, not my population size. So my sample size was 50 seniors, and my proportion here was the 36 out of 50 of them who said they would be interested in going to prom. That tells us that 36 seniors would be interested. So that is most definitely greater than or equal to 10. Then we're also going to check the same thing with the complement of our sample proportion. So again, my 50 seniors, and this time 14 out of those 50 said they did not want to go to prom, which tells us 14 is greater than or equal to 10. So since both our success and failures are greater than or equal to 10, the normal model is appropriate by large counts. So I can't just say it, I actually have to show the math behind this condition. So notice always our four things here: the formula that you are using, the value substituted, and then a final answer. And then normally context, but here we've already mentioned context through saying the seniors. Okay, now what's going to happen is that our conditions were met. So we are going to say, since conditions are met, we will use a how many samples. I took one sample. Is this a Z or T? It's a proportions, and this is going to be a Z interval for a proportion. Sorry, for a proportion. So the name. So we've got the parameter listed. What are we estimating? We've checked our assumptions for our sample to generalize, to ensure independence, to make sure we can actually use the normal model to compute some things here. And lastly, because we know these conditions are met, we are going to use them to form the one sample Z interval for a proportion. So now the I here stands for interval calculations. So again, we are just going to show what we know. So we know the interval is going to be p hat plus or minus z star times the square root of p hat times 1 minus p hat, or its complement, all over n, the square root here. So again, our point estimate plus or minus the margin of error. Margin of error here is the test statistic, or not the test statistic, not the test statistic, the critical value, and then the spread of this distribution, or sampling distribution. The vocab here, y'all, is very precise. We have to be careful. So this is actually where you would just go into your calculator and spit out all the computations. I'm evil, so I will definitely make my students do all the substitutions, but I'll spare you all a little bit because this formula has been listed. So as long as we list all the values that are being communicated in this formula, we're good to go to just produce the calculator output. So p hat, we know, was the number of successes over the sample size. And look, n is also listed in the formula, so I would only have to list n one time. So our successes were 36 out of 50 successes. So that takes care of p hat, that would take care of 1 minus p hat, and that also takes care of n. Next up, we're using a z star with 90% confidence, and I'm actually going to get this value from our tables here. So this is a new table that will have for our notes in this semester, basically. We're going to be very familiar with this table. This is table B in the AP Stats formula sheet. So we're used to using table A, which is all the normal distribution calculations. Again, I don't know why my shoulders turn to the side there. But table B shows us the t distribution, which we'll talk about when we get to means. And we can see, right, the probability is above. And so these are the degrees of freedom. Again, doesn't really mean too much yet. But here we're using a z star or z distribution. And so we want 90% confidence. So I'm going to go here to my confidence level, 90%. And at 90%, the confidence level is actually 1.645. So I'm just going to list that out here. So z star for 90% confidence is 1.645. And then we would go into the calculator and we will select menu, statistics. We're going to go down to confidence intervals or stat test, whichever one it is on your calculator. And you're going to select a 1 proportion z interval. And then once you have that, it would ask you for xn and the level of confidence. And when I type this into my handy dandy calculator, it produces the following output. And it tells me that my interval, or my 90% confidence interval, is going to be 0.6156 to 0.8244. So that is the 90% confidence interval. Now, what on earth does that mean? And I'm so glad you asked a hypothetical. So we are now 90% confident that this interval will capture the true proportion. And how would I communicate that? Well, easy. We are 90% confident the interval from 0.6156 to 0.8244 captures the true population proportion. So this is our parameter in context. The true population proportion of seniors at Cache who want to attend prom. So there we go. We've officially run our first confidence interval procedure here. So let's just make sure we've checked off all the components. We are estimating the true population proportion of seniors who plan to attend prom. We had a random sample, which means our center would be an unbiased estimator. Our sample size is no more than 10% of the population, so we can correctly calculate the spread. Our normal model was appropriate by large counts, so we can use the sampling distribution for P to formulate the distribution here. And since our conditions are met, we use a 1 sample z interval for a proportion using the following formula, the I for interval calculations. We just communicate what we're subbing in, and it produces this interval here. And because we now have this interval, we are 90% confident the interval from 0.6156 to 0.8244 captures the true population proportion of seniors at Cache who want to attend prom. So that is how we construct a 1 sample z interval for a proportion.